Today we're going to talk about LawToolBox rules-based deadlines inside Rocket Matter. Missed deadlines are the #1 cause of malpractice claims against attorneys, and LawToolBox helps protect against that risk. First, let's talk about how to get started. Starting from your dashboard in your Rocket Matter account, scroll down and on the left-hand side of the screen, click on Settings. On the right side under Court Rules, click on Settings again. And in this account, you can see we have already activated our court rules with LawToolBox for Rocket Matter. If you're a new customer, this is where you would activate the court rules for your account. If you have questions about pricing for this service, you can email support@lawtoolbox.com, or you can contact your Rocket Matter representative for more information. Now let's talk about setting up your defaults. Okay, so we're from the dashboard, we're going to go ahead and choose Settings. And on the right, Settings under Court Rules again. And now we're going to select our rule sets. So we start by entering, you can see that we already had a couple in there, and we're going to start by entering the first initial, the two initials for the state that we want to select a rule set for. So in California, you can see the full list of everything available. We choose LA County and we select Add. Now we're going to set LA County as our default because that's the rule set we use the most. So we can also select rule sets in other states. We can select rule sets for family law, for probate, civil litigation. And if you are wondering about a rule set that you don't see in the list, you can always email support@lawtoolbox.com and we can help you find that rule set. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our Rocket Matter account and find a case that we need to generate some deadlines for. Okay, so we're going to look for our case by clicking on Matters on the left-hand side of the screen. And in the top search window, we'll just enter the name of our matter. This is the Jones v. Smith case. And now that we're in the case, we're going to click on Court Rules on the left-hand side of the screen. And we can see for our adding rules that it's defaulted to our main rule set that we use, but we can choose any in that screen. We don't need to continue to use the same one. In the first field where it says notify the following users with rule updates, this is where we're selecting the name of the person that will be notified when the rules change. Later, we'll add the user that receives the deadlines in their calendar. So to select our trigger event, we're going to choose date of trial because we all know a lot of deadlines run off of that date. And we'll go ahead and set our trial for September 9th, 2019 and click Calculate Deadlines. Okay, so we see the deadlines that have been generated. And we notice on the left-hand side, we can slide that top bar to the right. And that selects every deadline to be added to the calendar. Now, as we scroll down and see these deadlines, there might be one or two or a few that we don't want to add to our end user calendars. So we're going to remove the Make Preemptory Challenge to disqualify a trial judge. And if we wanted to hover over any of the rule info hyperlinks, we'd see more descriptions and how those dates were calculated. All right, so we're ready to add these to the calendar. We're going to go ahead and click Next Step. So the Rocket Matter product is telling us that we need to set our preferences for these events before adding them to the calendar. So when we scroll to the top, we see this bulk setup button. We'll click on that. So the first thing you're going to do is deselect the all-day event. We think it looks best in your Rocket Matter and your Outlook and Google to have it set at a time of day. 7:30 a.m. is a great time to choose. Next, we're going to select the Remind Participants. And we think 15 minutes is a good default setting, but you can choose anything that looks good to you. And then lastly, we want to choose all of the different people on this case so that they see the deadlines in their Rocket Matter and in their Outlook and Google calendars. Finally, we're going to choose a tag. This is a personal injury case. And then before we finish, a really important great feature here is to save the default configuration as a default so that whenever we do docketing on this case, it remembers our preferences. And now that we've finished setting our preferences, we're ready to add the deadlines to our calendar. And we'll just go ahead and click Add Events. And before we go check out the deadlines in our Rocket Matter calendar, we're going to click on the pencil and we're going to scroll down to Trial, Date of Trial, and let's go ahead and set a start and an end time for the actual trial event. And here we've modified the event to set the start time to 9 and the end time to 5 p.m., added a location and some notes about the trial. So now let's go see the deadlines in your Rocket Matter calendar, clicking on Matter Calendar on the left. And we'll switch over here to the month view so we can see all of our deadlines. And as we scroll ahead to see our trial, which is scheduled for September 9th, and we switch to day view. Here we see our deadlines as well as our events that have been scheduled. And all of this will be automatically synchronizing to your Outlook and Google Calendars. Now we're going to go back and recalculate our deadlines based on a new trial date and watch all the deadlines move. Search for the case at the top of the screen. Choose Court Rules on the left-hand side. Find the trigger date, in this case it's the trial date, and click on the pencil. Scroll to the bottom and you'll see the previous trigger date for trial, and we're going to change it from September 9 to September 16. And when we click Calculate Deadlines, it automatically regenerates those dates based on the new trial. Now we're going to select again the dates that we want to update, and we can deselect the one date that we don't want to see, which was the date to disqualify a judge. And then we click Next Step. It's telling us that settings are needed before we apply our deadlines. So we're going to go apply the bulk setup. It saved our bulk settings from before, so all we have to do is click Save. Okay, so now we're going to add another set of deadlines. This is going to be our discovery date. So we're going to choose Add Rule. And each time we will be determining or noting who we would like to receive rule changes about this trigger date. Sally Jones for our firm. And we're typing in the word discovery to pull up the trigger date for date written discovery served. We may have a bunch of these. The first one we're going to enter is Jones-Roggs on Smith. And it asks us how we are serving this particular pleading. So we've chosen by mail within California, so we'll automatically add 5 days. And then our trigger date is going to be June 12th. And below we can see the deadlines that have been generated. We're going to select the description to choose all. Click Next Step. We're going to apply our bulk settings. Verify that the deadlines are appearing on your calendar at the right time and click Save. So you may have several more interrogatories that you're serving on other parties, and you would just follow these same steps. And similarly, if you have motions, depots, you're going to be able to generate as many of those as might apply for your particular case. Next, we'll take a quick look at reporting. So for this Jones versus Smith case, we can see a case calendar in a 30-day view, or we can go to the Matter dashboard and view a list of upcoming deadlines. LawToolBox rules-based deadlines and calendaring is a lot more than just entering trigger dates and generating deadlines. It's really all about being able to edit deadlines to reflect orders, adding ad hoc miscellaneous dates based on case-specific things going on in the case, making sure that you're selecting only the deadlines that you need, and the technology that's involved in rolling deadlines off of weekends and court holidays based on that specific court's holiday schedule, rolling forward and backward, incorporating the mail rules when deciding how to roll deadlines forward off of court holidays, and providing the links to the authorities for each of those rules and deadlines that help the attorneys navigate through complex deadlines. Of course, another big feature is the ability to have an additional set of eyes watching over the rules and the rule changes for you. And the report codes allow you to be able to see what's going on with your cases and understand your information better. And of course, last but not least, with the malpractice premiums, using systems like this allow you to really take advantage of the best discount you can get on your insurance. Thanks for taking a look at this integration, and if you have any questions about deadlines or about the rule sets, please contact support@lawtoolbox.com.